This is Canucks Only.
This is Canucks Only.
Here are your hosts, Shylo Smith and Rob Young.
Recording already? All right. Shylo, how's it going?
Oh, it's good to be back, man. Good to be back.
Welcome back. Welcome back to good old Canada. You were gone in Italy for the entire month, you bastard.
It was
All right.
lovely.
Awesome. I didn't realize you're Italian. Is that right?
I'm half Italian, but
There you go.
I'm Italian.
So, top highlight in Italy, top thing you saw and top thing you ate.
I saw so many things. So, I saw the Sistine Chapel, I saw the Colosseum, I saw Pompeii, I saw, castles galore, right? Churches galore, the Vatican, obviously, because that's where Sistine Chapel is. But honestly, personally, the coolest place I saw was the house, the room that my mother was born in. So it's a house that's actually still in the family, and it has been in the family for about 500 years.
Wow.
So since 1687, when they started to rebuild. So the area my mother grew up in is on a mountain, and in 1630 or something like that, there was a massive earthquake, and half the city just sort of dropped by about 5 to 10 feet.
Wow.
And everything was destroyed there. And so they started to rebuild, and they rebuilt that whole section of the city in the 1600s. And way back when, a relative of mine bought, it was it's one room with an attic that you can almost stand in, and that's literally what it is. It's one room. It's your kitchen. It's everything, and then the upstairs is where you would sleep. And my mother was born in that room. My great aunt was born in that room. My great grandmother was born in that house. And it was just so cool to see, it hasn't changed in 50 years. It still has the original, churchy paintings and stuff up on the wall. It's very, very old. And It was just so cool. And it's hilarious because they call it the new part of town, because the old part of town that didn't collapse was built in the 900s. And so getting to walk around in that place is just amazing, because everything is just, it's old. They don't improve anything. They just fix what's there. Wow. So that was my favorite thing, was actually getting to be there in that house, to see that house and experience it. My favorite thing that I ate was, I was never a big tiramisu fan. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, okay, they're all right. I'm not a big fan of them here. And I absolutely love the real tiramisu. She's my great second cousin or something like that. She's very old. We just call her aunt, but she made tiramisu, and it was absolutely amazing. It was we went to really nice restaurants and had really expensive and really good tiramisu. We went to some, not so nice restaurants, and I had really bad tiramisu. And hers was the best. It was the most delicious. It was just, we even went to, we had a cooking class where we went and we cooked, we learned how to make pizza and how to make the dough and everything and make pizza. And then we also learned how to make tiramisu. And that was really, really good. It was pretty much the best tiramisu that we had tried until we tried hers.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
And then it was even better than that. And so, that was amazing. But all the food was just There's so much food there. And then they're trying to I got recipes, they're written in Italian.
Perfect.
I had my great aunt was just starting to write recipes down on paper. I got recipes for sausage. I got recipes for, what else did I get? Bread. I got a whole bunch, but finding the ingredients, because the Matera bread is very, very difficult to make. It requires a type of grain that's only found in southern Italy, and you can't buy it here. So you can't really remake that bread. But anyway.
Yeah, I've heard that about the North American grains versus whatever is available over there for allergies is it's not an issue as big of an issue for people with allergies over there. So
yeah, amazing. Here, if I eat too much pizza, too much pasta, whatever, I get I don't get I'm not horrible. I know some people that they can't do it, right? But I might get a bit of a bloated stomach, a little bit of pain just from the bloating, right? And but there, I had nothing. I was eating pasta and bread all day long every day,
right?
And I might put on about 10 pounds, but I was never bloated. I was never sore. Yeah. So yeah, I fully agree to that. Their grains up there are different. Anyway,
cool.
That's hockey, or that's hockey. That's vacation.
That's good. So that's your good news. The good news from this side, the good news, bad news from this side is that I only found one guest host to replace you while you were gone. That was my brother Derek. We had a long episode on just his thoughts on the season. Mm-hmm. And then the bad news is that the Canucks haven't done anything since you left, so you didn't miss anything.
Well, that's good news and that's bad news. I mean, it's good. Right. It's good because I didn't miss anything, and I always do love chatting with you about hockey. And it's bad though because we were kind of hoping they would have done a couple of more little moves before training camp, but I don't know.
It's crazy. So and that's what we're going to title this episode is the Summer of Nothing. Because we've talked about everything that's happened so far. I think there's been a minor signing, minor league or something like that, but nothing of significance to address what is the glaring needs. Well, there's two things. There's needs, and then there are the what will happen scenarios, the reclamation, the resurrection, whatever you want to call it, that need to happen for this club to have any sort of success. With all the roads leading to Quinn Hughes. I mean, we have a small window for it to, for us to actually show anything. PD needs to show up in shape. Hedl needs to be healthy. Demko, so we'll talk about that in this episode. So, in your mind, I mean, what do you think? I mean, we haven't talked about any of this. This is just us chatting. What do you think's happening inside the Brain Trust? We've talked about this briefly before, but okay, let's assume people have taken vacations like everyone else has in the summer. But what do you think of the conversations? You think that maybe the AGMs, the assistant general managers, they kind of have the reins a little bit while say Rutherford and Alvin go on vacation. But what do you think's happening in there? What do you think the mindset is right now?
I mean, I don't know. I was thinking that perhaps they're not comfortable doing anything, or they were sitting on something and it didn't pan out. The whole team, everyone in a whole, might just be, waiting with the cap increase with and you brought this up earlier with what the free trade availability looks like next season. The
free agent, the UFAs, right? So the UFAs with Jack Eichel headlining that next year.
Yeah. Maybe right now not doing a Tyler Myers signing is who's the other guy? That guy that his first goal, it was a own goal. Oh, what was his name?
Louis Eriksson?
Yes, thank you. or a Louis Eriksson signing, and sort of see what we got right now. I don't agree with that move if that's what they're doing. Just sitting and waiting to see what happens does not make a better team. And if you have not a good team right now, it's going to be, when's Hughes up? Next year?
Not this season, the end of next season.
Yeah, end of next season.
Let's
So
check that. I mean, it's a year. He's got this year and next, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's a full year. So this trade deadline is kind of critical for him.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's,
Yeah, he's UFA in 2027, 2028. So we've got this year and next year for him at 7.85.
So I would expect that they're going to be trying to put together something that has some time to grow and develop, right? Because whatever they do this year, let's hope for a good bounce back year, a good year. But it's not going to be a Cinderella story, right? And even if it is, they're not good enough for a complete long run. Right. They still need those missing pieces. And if they're not filling them up, they're not doing the run. And if they're not doing that, then again, you're still picking people up next season. Well, it might take another season for them to finally sort of, fit the groove and get into play. So I don't know. I just feel like we have a very small window and we're just watching it get closed instead of doing something about it.
Yeah, and I would agree with that because in the summer of nothing so far, I mean, Evander Kane, okay. The re-signings, okay. Losing Suter, okay. While you were gone, I was thinking of other things for Canucks Quest to post about because I think that our goaltending is excellent. If Demko stays healthy, we're great. I mean, we're not just great, we're excellent. If he gets hurt, Lankinen can carry the mail for a while. We're going to get LTIR for Demko. I'm not sure who our third string will be at that point, losing Seelovs.
Yeah.
And he was still unproven, so that's fine. Defense-wise, I'd say we're an upper echelon. We're an upper quarter. We're in the top 8 of the league, I feel. Now, it's the forwards, right? So the bottom 6 is pretty okay. I think we're pretty solid there. I think we have some great pieces that people would love to have in the Kiefer Sherwoods. Bluger, people are kind of not sour's not the right word. They're not super high on Bluger, but Bluger is an excellent professional. He is an excellent fourth line center. Mm-hmm. He does his job very, very well. And then past that, obviously, it's the Petey Hedl equation and how they will do. Because I think Evander Kane will be fine.
Well, he's going to do what he always does, right?
Yeah, and as long as he stays healthy, right? He could be the healthiest he is right now, maybe since he entered the league. Mm-hmm. DeBrusk, great deal, great value, potential for 25, 30 goals. There's some pieces there with Höglander, other ones that, maybe potentially are part of the trade bait, whatever you can get to fill those to replace him, because right now we only have 3.27 in cap space, 3.27 million, which is not a lot, and we have one roster spot available. And I was just looking at the UFA still available. If we're looking at a center, Jack Roslovic is still there, obviously. Robbie Fabry's there at $4 million on his last contract. I'm just going to resort this by what people made last year. So, excuse me. Yep. On Puckpedia, Mark Edward Vlasic leads the list at the top UFAs at $7 million, but he's been bought out and he's a defenseman. But Fabry, Roslovic, then Kevin Rooney. I mean, there is nothing to speak of. I mean, a 35-year-old Craig Smith at $1 million, I could see something like that happening, if it gets too far along. There's going to be PTOs probably for training camp. We've lost Sammy Blais. He signed somewhere. I can't remember where he signed. So there's not a lot of options out there. There's a Tyler Mott there, but he's a third line center. And right now, that's not what we need. So I don't know either. I don't know what they're thinking. I think it has to be a couple of options as far as wait it out. Let's see if anyone else makes mistakes, see if there's an injury, see if there's something. But I don't think we have a lot of desirables to ship out. Again, maybe the Höglander, maybe a Drew O'Connor because he's not that expensive. Mm-hmm. But these are wingers, Garland would have fit that list of other desirables that other teams would want, and he just signed long term. So I don't know. I really don't understand. I do understand from one. It's a hard market. It's a hard situation because there's not a lot of options out there. If you've missed all the UFAs that you were targeting, and none of that made a lot of sense anyways for the Canucks. Mm-hmm. And so it's the kids, it's the Atu Ratus, it's the Arshdeep Bains coming up, maybe a Carlson from below. I think they're going to have to do some dice rolling and hope. And it's a bit of a lottery ticket, like you were saying, and that's a rocky foundation, to your point about even if they do great and have a Cinderella year, this team is not really. It's not the team that lost to Edmonton 2 years ago in the second round.
No,
far cry from it.
Yeah.
And so I really don't know either. And that's really, when we were batting around ideas here, the Summer of Nothing is the most aptly named episode name because there's not a lot that's happened. And even with Evander Kane coming in, that's something. But that's a lot of salary, and we still gave away a pick. And it begs the question: why him, and why not a center? Why was that the target?
Yeah,
and then to trade away Joshua as well.
Yeah,
that we talked about that before. The two of them together feel a lot more enticing or tantalizing. Even identity-wise, because what's the identity of this team right now? The identity is Quinn Hughes.
Yep.
Everything goes in and around, and that's an easy strategy to combat. Shut down Quinn Hughes, and this team may not do anything. And there's your hoping and praying that PD and Hedl are both healthy.
And performing.
Right.
I mean, Hedl making sure he's healthy. And PD making sure he's actually performing, because that's interesting. Anyway, because he needs to be, he needs to be in the top 10 of the NHL if they're going to go anywhere.
Right.
And that's it. And that's only because there's no one else that Hedl could help out there. But there's and Brock, but they're top 30. They're in the NHL top 50. You could maybe argue. I'd have to look at stuff, but
yep.
But if they're in that and they're doing that, then we still need someone, who's going to be. And I love Quinn Hughes, but I mean, he's a defenseman, and while he can do a whole bunch of stuff and develop a whole bunch of stuff, we still need someone in the front end, right? We still need to have that talent in the forwards that can do something with it.
Yeah.
And right now we've put everything on Elias.
Right. I just sent you the Daily Faceoff, the projected lineups for what they have right now. They're usually pretty up to date, and it's actually pretty cool. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but top line of DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Besser. That's good. Kane, Hedl, and Garland. That's fine.
Interesting.
Good. Then they've got Ratu centering Hoglander and Sherwood, which is fine. And then you've got Bluger centering Drew O'Connor and Max Sasson. And that's also fine, but they're not. I think we've closed the cap window. Let's just call it what it is. This is not a cap competing team that's going to take out. If they made it to round 3, it would be a miracle with this squad.
Well, it'd be a Cinderella story, right?
And I like this. I don't mind this squad. It's just you're missing a bit of the X factor. And a lot of it remains to be seen. So Evander Kane, yes. We need to see what Ratu can do. I think he's pretty much, at this point, he's pretty much a lock if you think about it. Mm-hmm. Even if they signed another center that fits under the salary cap, they're just going to push Ratu to the wing and Bluger to the wing because they can do it.
Yep.
And someone's getting scratched, so that's O'Connor. Oh, no, O'Connor's probably staying. Sasson's out,
Sasson
right?
would be scratch, yeah.
So right now, Baines is not even in this lineup.
Nope.
And so...
Well, no one... Yeah, anyway. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's no room past that. I know I was specifically thinking of Baines.
Yep.
And that's a bit of a moving thing where, injuries or whatever can happen during the season. So that remains to be seen. But if you look at the defense... Hughes to Hronek, Marcus Pettersson to Tyler Myers, and then Forbert and D. Petey. And that's a really solid D, to be honest. Yeah.
I have no complaints. I don't even like Tyler Myers, to be honest. But
I think they tried everything, either limiting his minutes or giving him more minutes. And I can't remember really what worked. I think he played better with more minutes, but then you roll the dice on that. I like him. I like him personally. I like what he potentially can do. Mm-hmm. But that remains to be seen, right? He's getting older. It's a solid decor.
It is. And if he plays, Tyler Myers plays like he did last season, I was actually quite impressed with his game last season.
Right.
There was far fewer, high risk giveaways that he was doing. That's one of the things that just irks me about him, or has in the past, right? He's got the puck, he turns around, high pressure's on him, and he just turns around and whips it out to the slot. Or, he did high giveaways all the time. And as a goalie, I don't like seeing those from your defenseman. Right. So, but last year he did really well.
Yeah, he seems to have changed his game a couple times, and I can't quite figure out which version of Tyler Myers we have. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind his play last year, but it also was an anomaly year too, where if Quinn's out of the lineup, then really you're just kind of hanging on anyways. With how bad last season was, it didn't really matter at that point.
That's true.
Lankinen was playing out of his mind and then played too much, so he got a little. DeBrusk had his hot streak. Hedl looked okay till Hedl looked really good, and I could see why he was a tantalizing trade prospect, because he's big, he's fast, and he's got hands, but he's just got the concussion history, and so that's not great. The Ranger I really wanted was that Cooley. He's also a left winger and big, and he's younger. That's who I really would have held out for. But I guess Mancini is also, Mancini hasn't even made this list. And so he did very well in the Calder Cup. He's a giant man-child. Apparently he was the strongest Canuck. As soon as he got traded, he was immediately the strongest Canuck on the squad. At age 20, whatever he is, at 6'5", right? So that's good. We've got depth in the wings. I was trying to think who else we had past that, but he's 23, and so he is massive. He was in Instagram photo with another with Matt Rempe of the Rangers, and Rempe's like 6'8", and Mancini's hands are bigger than Rempe's hands. It's crazy. They're sitting beside each other. They're like super good buds. Yeah. And I'm like, holy smokes! Mancini's 6'5", and I think Rempe's 6'8". Something crazy. Actually, they've got him at 6'3", but I think he's bigger than that.
Yeah.
Well, so our D is great, and we've got depth. And as we talked about before, for the Mason McTavish. Did I get that name right? I didn't say Marchman this time. Mason McTavish in Anaheim. It has to, the deal has to be a Höglander. It's maybe going to do a Mancini, probably maybe a Willander, or it's going to cost us a couple of those prospects for sure. Mm-hmm. But who knows? Everyone wants that player, McTavish, because he's young and he's incredible. But the reality is we are where we are right now, going into training camp in 17 days.
Yep.
So, I mean, in the summer of nothing, what would you be trying to do right now? Like, what do you think you'd be trying to do? Are you trying to trade? Are you trading? I mean, obviously there's the ones you want to trade and the ones you don't want to trade.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't think there's. I mean, right now, I'm like, I think they lost a lot of their opportunities, because right now there's not a lot to go for. Either other teams are just they're like, no, we're not doing anything right now, or the players that you can take a look at and see who's available. You're kind of like, well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know if there's anything they can do right now.
No, not with $3 million cap space.
No, I think their hands are tied. I think that's it. They can just sit there and hope something comes and happens. And if it doesn't, then you might see some big deals, big trades happening, right? If we have crap season, well, you might see by halfway through moving some it would be interesting to see if the season just flops, what they would actually do. There's not a lot that they have that they can get rid of and actually have anything for, right? Like they would have to get rid of the big players.
I think Garland goes. I think that they try. Well, actually, I just saw an interesting rumor that Edmonton would take Evander Kane back. I just saw that on a headline here. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting scenario. Yeah. So I think, to what you're saying, if the season goes sideways for them and starts to go downhill, tank, go in the wrong direction, mm-hmm. Do you start bringing all the kids up? Do you bring Carlson up? Do you bring? Oh man, I'm gonna brain fart on his name.
Mancini?
Kamilovic?
Oh.
Kamilovic?
Mm-hmm.
Do you bring up Kamilovic? Do you see what you've got with Baines, Ratu, Kamilovic, Carlson? Do you start making room?
Yeah.
I think the interchangeable parts of the Drew O'Connors. Right now, Niels Amon is in there. Kiefer Sherwood is a UFA after this year, so yep. He's trade bait. He's also 30. That's too bad. He's gonna be a one-hit wonder Canuck. I bet you. Mm-hmm. He's only making 1.5 though. Okay. So I don't know how many options you've got, and I don't know how we got painted in this corner. To be perfectly honest,
I don't know either. How did we get here?
So Kane making 5. I thought he was making 6. So he's making 5.1. They just signed Garland. Hedl makes 4.4. Höglander makes 3. Now that's fine. He was on a heater when he signed that.
Yeah.
O'Connor makes 2.5, and these aren't big numbers, but we're full up. We're full up. So it is Hronik's making 7.25. Marcus Pettersson makes 5.5. Tyler Myers makes 3. Forbort's making 2. And DPD's making 800,000. And we've got, and then also for the D depth is Pierre Olivier Joseph. Our D is so solid. It's great. So I don't know. Maybe I was gonna say if Hughes goes, does Hronik go? But you need Hronik then he becomes your number one defenseman.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
If Hughes goes, then
although I think that that Simon Nimick must, in my mind, has to come back, because I think the as like the Netflix series, the 3-body problem, I'll translate that to Toronto, the 4-body problem. New Jersey will have a 5-body problem if they acquire Quinn Hughes. So Quinn, Jack, and Luke, and then you've got Hischier, and then was one more. I can't remember. They also now have the 4-body problem at minimum, with Quinn making $14 million or whatever he's going to make. Luke is going to make a good chunk. As we saw, or we talked about before, Jack is an incredible deal with his salary. He signed way too soon on off of his entry-level deal. Great value for the Devils. So it's going to be amortized a little bit by Jack's contract being very favorable, but they're going to have a problem. So I think that they need to move off some players as well. And I think an offensive defenseman has to come back. And then that's when Mancini potentially is that much more important. And a Willander.
Yes.
So maybe that's what they're thinking. But it's not a great problem, because we've basically exited our cap window. The JT Miller trade basically, based on PD and based on Hedl both being injured, not playing well, and or available, and then Quinn getting hurt, it essentially closed the window in my mind. Because projections for where we will finish in the West is, we should be fighting for a wild card spot, but how are you going to beat Vegas? How are you going to beat Edmonton? How are you going to beat, even LA? But at that point, that's how do you beat the Colorados and Dallas is still coming out of the West? It's
there, yeah.
So I think it's fair to say that this cap window has been crushed. Like it's not closed, but it's been mangled. Like it's been in a car crash. And they might be able to make their way through the wreckage, but it's going to take a minor miracle. There's nobody on the horizon short of our draft pick becoming the next Wyatt Johnson and becoming, a $10 million player out of training camp. That's the hoping and wishing that, you mentioned when we drafted him. What was his name again? Boy, we should know this, right? It's a good name. Coots. Braden Coots.
Yeah.
It's short of Coots being the next Wyatt Johnson. It's going to be a lot of wishing and praying at this point, so.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like this season is going to be a write-off, but I don't understand to what purpose, because it doesn't look like they've done anything to actually advance. It almost looks like there's, honestly, like I look at them like I feel like they have to have some sort of amazing up their sleeve plan that they're going to sort of implement, and everyone's going to go, wow, that was awesome, look what they did, because they haven't done anything. And I'm just like, come on, like, is there, you look at the team, like, okay, well, it's a good, decent team, but it doesn't get you out of the second round.
Yeah. And do you even think like a Barzell type, because that's really what is potentially, I'm going to say on the table, But in a scenario to try and patchwork this, but with long-term benefits for the Canucks, even Barzal hasn't been playing that well the last few years. I can't even really think of a scenario where someone has a extra centers that they would need to get rid of, either in a cap situation or they're just full up.
Yeah.
Even that doesn't really quite solve the problem for the Canucks. And really, they don't come around very often. I mean, the Trevor Zegras trade, I think even taking a flyer on that would have been okay. But I still think that the Mason McTavish is potentially the best move that we could probably make. That would make sense to somewhat mortgage the future to try and remedy this. But with Quinn's contract and, it's just too many question marks. I was going to say PD also being a question mark. There's nothing you can rely on at this point other than Quinn Hughes. And that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'd say I'd include Connor in there. You can rely on Garland to, do what he does. But he's not,
He can't do it all himself.
No.
I love Connor Garland.
He's not. I'd like to give Connor Pettersson's skills. You know what I mean? Like Connor Garland's work ethic, right? His energy, his go, his tenacity. And let's just give him like Pettersson's hands and shot.
Oh yeah. Höglander kind of looked like that in the early parts and couldn't do it. Then 2 years ago, amazing, 20 plus goals all by himself. But and I guess when you look back, you have to appreciate when your team's rolling. And 2 years ago was so easy. We were scoring at will and winning, all these comebacks and incredible wins.
Low injuries.
Yeah.
We had, almost no injuries, really.
Yeah. And maybe we'll talk about this more in a future episode, but I just stumbled across some information saying that it really came down to the PD wasn't in good shape last year, which is mind-blowing from the perspective that you came off, basically we could have beat Edmonton earlier. I think it was around Game 5. I think we had a chance to beat them. Well, we have 3-1. I'll have to check again. It's just a bad memory at this point, so it's not top of mind. But to come out of that year in bad shape is really horrible.
Yeah.
And blowing that whole chance, and you could see the emotional TNT type player of JT Miller losing it, because he's so competitive. And so some of it makes a little bit more sense, because that was really the first time I've heard that and followed up on it was on Halford and Bruff. And we both saw that. And it's just shocking. It's just terrible and shocking, and being that foundation is not solid. That's all I'm kind of getting to.
Yeah.
It's all history at this point, but now the future history needs to be written, and we're just we're all sitting here scratching our heads. And I'm sure management is as well.
I'm hoping they're not scratching their heads and there's a plan in place. But yeah, they're probably sitting there just like us, going how do we? The roster didn't change that much in the 2 years, and they went from looking really good to just flopping on their face.
Right.
And what is that? What's the fix there then?
I don't know. It's at the very least, as you well know, on any team, you got to have 80% of your guys going. You can't have 20% of your guys going, and that's what happened last year.
Yeah.
Even on top of Demko being hurt, that it falls into Lankinen, Quinn, Sherwood, Garland are the only ones that came to play, and that is like basically play less than 20% of your roster.
And when Garland's like your best player out there for, a quarter of the season.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Garland. Like, if you check, I've been a massive fan ever since we acquired him, because I think I've said this before to you, that the Phoenix Reporter says, I don't know why we got rid of Garland. His contract's up. I get that. He's going to make about $5 million a year, but you guys are going to love him. Like, he is a great part of that OEL trade, and you guys will love this guy. And it's true. The reporter was 100% right.
Totally
so I've been watching
love him
for it. And he is a catalyst, and there are certain players that when things are not going well that you can rely on to self-start, and he's a self-starter.
Yep.
And so we need more of that, right? Quinn's a self-starter. I don't know. You can kind of go down the list, but you need more than your 18 to 20% of your roster performing to have a season that you need to consider making a difference with in having some success in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in the summer of nothing, like it's, we've got a couple more weeks here. Maybe they'll surprise us. I would imagine we're looking at some PTOs, and we can talk about them in the training camp episode. But really, based on the free agents, and we can circle back to the future free agents for next year. If we go, I'm just going to pull it up, but yeah, Connor McDavid leads the list.
Yep.
And then
Which will be
Panarin.
interesting. Depending on what Edmonton does this season, you might actually we could see him in something new.
Yeah, totally. Which would be totally amazing for so many reasons. Like, the hockey players are very loyal, but this is it's a new breed of NHL players. And my brother had a good point on the show that we did with him, is that I didn't really pay attention to it, but Austin Matthews only signed a 4-year contract. And so there is this new era of 4-year contracts. And so, he could sign a 1-year deal and see how it goes.
Yep.
He could sign a 4-year deal. He could sign long-term. It's really super interesting. I think the more interesting ones is Panarin at age 33. He makes almost $12 million. He's the second highest paid player on the list for next year. Eichel at $10 million, and then Ovechkin, and then Kaprizov, who has said publicly now that he wants to be paid as much as McDavid, basically. Patrick Laine, John Carlson, who's 35, Jacob Trouba at age 31, Kevin Hayes at 33. He makes $7 million, which is crazy. Kyle Connor, that's going to be a premier free agent next year as well. Kopitar at age 38, Anders Lee at 35. I mean, so it's an interesting list, but Malkin's 39 in UFA as well. I just saw something online about him in the Rangers as a big rumor. Oh, not big. I'll say as a rumor out there. Anyways, it's a very weird time. It's a weird time in the world. It's a weird time in the NHL. It's a weird time for the Canucks.
Yeah.
And we're a little bit stuck. There's no doubt about it. That's I can't. I would love to know the conversations, and I would love to have. I would love to be able to give some input. But the end of the day. The players have to perform, right? So you can do all your best, and that's the tough part. So
and that's it. They can't be expected to be amazing all the time, every day. But what needs to happen is when, look at the Panthers, right? There was always someone. Barkov's not doing that great. Well, Sam Bennett all just turned it up a little bit, and then all of a sudden, Barkov's back, a game later or whatever. So they have to be able to cover each other, but they also have to have that talent to do so. And I'd love to actually see what the Florida Panthers cap situation looks like. But anyway, we got a lot of support players is what we have. and we don't have enough of the
game breakers, difference makers, game breakers.
Yep.
And we had 3. We had Quinn, we had Petey, and we had Miller. Mm-hmm. You know, and Besser kind of
he transitions in and out of that. You know, like he's in and out of that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, and I don't see anything out there that's really available until next season.
Right.
So that again makes me just wonder if they're just sitting there going, you know what, we're gonna burn this season. We're just gonna do the bare minimum, and I'm talking about management here, and if the team does well, they do well, and if they don't, well, then here's our plan for next year, right? So.
Well, that would be also nice to know too, right? What's the plan if it doesn't go well, right?
But I mean, that's still a horrible plan. If your plan is to burn another year on Quinn Hughes, that's a bad plan.
Right. No, and that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to burn a Quinn Hughes year. And so I think that if just sort of popped in my head when you were talking that if it goes sideways, then probably a trade scenario is a lot more likely sooner rather than later for him.
Yeah.
Not at the trade deadline. It almost doesn't matter if they do it at the trade deadline for Jersey. It's better for Jersey because of the salary cap hit.
Yeah.
They can afford a salary. They just have to make room for next year at the 7 point whatever Quinn's making. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Like, it's terrible. It's actually honestly terrible. It's been a terrible year. This is a terrible, very stuck situation that we're in. And there doesn't seem to be a clear path. And that's also frustrating, especially coming out of the Petey Miller drama and the lack of news and the lack of action, and then, pulling the pin on sending Miller away. So... It's very frustrating. It's this may be one of the most frustrating times in the franchise history, to be perfectly honest. Post Pavel Bure, post Trevor Linden trade, post 82, post 94, post 2011. Mm-hmm. This is got to be right up there.
Yeah.
Because I think if the Miller trade happened and everything fixed itself, it would justify, or at least you could rationalize the pain there.
Yeah.
But there is no clear path. There is no anything obvious. So it remains to be seen.
And nothing's repaired. Nothing's fixed. Nothing's, they're still sort of, it's not even like they've spiraled downward. It's just like they're just in a holding pattern of, not good or not good enough, right? Because they could be good, but they're just not good enough,
right?
And for whatever reason, because they got when you actually look at the roster on paper, teams should be doing a lot better than they did last season,
right? Yeah, totally. Oh, back to Florida. You want to know what the cap hit? They're at negative $4.5 million. So they're over the cap right now. And so, but Matthew Tkachuk is on injury reserve.
Yeah.
So I suspect they're going to sit him for a month or two. Apparently, he was so banged up. Him and Barkov were really, really banged up.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. But that's where the role players came in. Bennett.
Yeah.
Took the team, put him on his back. Who else? Marshall.
Reinhart
as well. And then, Anton Lundell, they call him Mini Barkov because he does everything Barkov does, but at $5 million and on the third line.
Yeah.
So, it's an embarrassment of riches they have there. And then the defense.
And Marchand.
Yeah, Marchand killed them. Like, he killed everybody.
Yeah.
With on the defense with Seth Jones, Ekblad, Gustav Forsling, Mikko Mikkola.
Yeah.
And then Kulikov. They lost a player. They lost Nate Schmidt, but they got Jeff Petrie now. Like,
So that's
it's crazy.
That's
they're solid.
I'd say that's
right?
almost an upgrade.
Totally. And Bobrovsky is 36.
Oh, they even got like Verhaeghe. Like,
Oh, I know. We haven't talked about him, right?
like Verhaeghe on like their third line. Like,
Yeah, I think he was second line.
Was he?
I think he was
Okay.
second line, and he was either with Bennett or with Barkov, and so it's an embarrassment of riches.
Yep.
I don't know how they got under the cap last year, but they did because their whole fourth line makes less than $1 million, so $1 million each. But that's the game. That's the
Studnicka.
that's the challenge.
That's Studnicka too. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, in the summer of nothing, I don't know. There's not much more to talk about. Is there anything else you can think of that you want to mention in this?
Just real quick, I was just jumping on Wikipedia. I was just taking a look at the roster. I don't know how up to date Wikipedia is at, but it has Elias Pettersson as injured reserve.
Yeah, probably not. He'll be fine.
That's what I figured. That can't be right.
No, I don't think. I mean, he was at the last game of the season. So as of last game of the season, because he didn't play.
I guess, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So-
It just hasn't been updated, right?
Yeah. So,
But I'm hoping, I was like, I hope he's still not injured. You know what I mean?
no, they say he's in great shape. He's there's Instagram.
What's
from
great
his-
shape?
Like his coach, the skills coach in Sweden, says he looks back to old Petey. He was flying, and so there is no. If he comes in and has a subpar training camp and a subpar first couple weeks of the season, it will be a shock because by all accounts, so far, he's in good shape and his skills sessions look pretty good. There was a video I'll show you afterwards on after we record here. But it looks okay. It looks fine, and with no Miller berating him all the time. We'll see. It's part of it's the mental game, as you and I know.
If that comes back.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see. I was just thinking about the fact that he got secretly married and there was no teammates there.
I know.
Which kind of speaks to just more of the enigma of Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Okay, well, I got nothing else. I mean, we've talked a whole bunch about. It feels like a Seinfeld episode. Talked a whole bunch about nothing, right? So we'll see here. We'll do some more episodes up shortly here. But 17 days to training camp.
Looking forward to it.
Penticton. We'll see. I think that part of it for me is I have no expectations at this point, and so everything will be a pleasant surprise or a bad surprise. But who knows? Like this is just like I can't even think of the era it would be other than maybe the beginning of the Bertuzzi-McCabe era. And you're like, oh, at least that had optimism because we got rid of Linden, so there was a whole bunch of negativity. But then Bertuzzi and McCabe start doing their thing. And you're like, oh wow, okay, well this is kind of fun. Kind of a riverboat gambling team. And so who knows? It's hard to take. It's hard to get the temperature as well on X as far as people because everyone's trying to be a little positive.
Yeah.
But there's not much to talk about, and again, I think everyone's feeling the same thing where it's everyone's shrugging their shoulders and like, well, who knows, right? Who knows? If this happens, great. If this doesn't happen, like everyone's playing this a little bit of a guessing game. So. We'll see. If anything else happens in the meantime, we'll do another quick episode. But we'll wrap it up for this one on the big summer of nothing because it's September 1st and not a lot's happened so far.
Yep. All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Well, we'll catch you in the next one.
Yep. You bet.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Canucks Only.
Canucks Only. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you for watching Canucks Only.
Canucks Only. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe.